Hello everyone. Before I start the video, I just need to apologise that I didn't do a full video of the build for this tank. I had some emergency renovation work needing doing to the house, and there was lots of interruptions and background noise. So I started to show you some of the photo etch parts that I did of this build. But unfortunately, I didn't do the full build. But I will record and show you what I did do and the end result. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.
Okay, for the first bit of the photo etch on this T34, you need to get rid of the hull side skirt. I think it's a side skirt. I don't know what you call it. And then you put on the photo etch version later on. So I've done one side already, as you can see, and that's kind of smoothed over. Literally, all I do is get a hobby knife, and I've been pushing it across the grain in between the crease of the side skirt and the hull, and then a bit of pressure on it, obviously, because you want to make a bigger dent, making sure you're keeping just the whole side, just that part of it there, not the actual hull itself. And then after that, I've just bent it and then take it off like so. And then after that, it's just clean up work. And then I will be filing it down just on the edge there, because that is where the new photo etch will take over, where it bends into place. And there you have the finished article after I've rubbed it down a bit, made it smooth on that side and on that side, so that when I put on the skirting from the photo etch, it should blend in nicely. There you go. Now you can see a bit of scratch work on the actual side of the hull, but don't worry, that will come off when we paint over it later. Bend the side skirts. I'm just using my trusty Master Tools Photo Etch bender, and just putting it in the groove, and then I shall be twisting it upwards to get that 45-degree angle. I don't know if you can see, but that's the bending done on this side skirt. Now that will this bit obviously is attached to the hull, but look at the detail of the screw rivets. And I don't know if you can see, probably not, but the serrated part of the top of the skirting, that's really nice. Now I'm making the barrel holders on the T34. Now I'm using the photo etch, which is a straight part to start with, and I'm just going to use the plastic barrel from the actual original set and just bend it round as a template. Just gives me some idea of the circumference it's going to be, so it fits nicely when I actually put the metal barrel on. There, and there, as you can see, this has come up with that little curve. And the rest is for the bracket. Now, one of the tricky parts is turning this piece of photo etch into what I think they call the air vent, maybe, on the hull, and that goes into a rectangular box like that. And then you have to put these extra parts of frame down. Now you can just see the size of those, and you've got to do 12 of those. So that's 5. I think it's 5 or 10 at equal length along these two boxes. So that's going to be difficult. Look at the size of that. It's nothing. And as per usual, you can see I'm using a cocktail sticker, in this case an earbud with some blue tack on it, and that it helps pick up the photo etch, which is so small that you could easily lose it or drop it, so this is a godsend. So what they're asking you to do is cut this away, leaving the horizontal beams across. and then use the Photo-Etch. Now that's absolutely ridiculous, look at the size of that. So what I'm just going to do is file it, not cut it as they say. Just file it down and then put the Photo-Etch on, but that's going to be, again, it's not for the faint-hearted. Okay, so I've done one. It looks a bit raggedy, but probably more detail than you get on the plastic. But it's not great, but that's just my modelling skills, not very good. And one's gone horizontal, so I need to make that vertical. Okay, so here's the Photo-Etch so far. I've put the hinges on the mudguards and some hooks and the saw holder. The air vents didn't go according to plan. Got a bit messy on the second one. First of all, the first one was great, couldn't believe it, but the second one was awful. I've put the barrel holder in, and then I've tried to make the barrel from the Photo-Etch. But what they don't tell you, and I think this is one of the things they've done wrong by Ryefield, this is my point of view, you've got the expansion pack Photo-Etch, and then you get the Photo-Etch through the normal model. Now, they've both called them Y. So when I did the barrel, it says use Y2. So when I looked at the expansion pack, which is on the expansion sheet, it says use Y2. And I thought, well, that's not right. Y2 isn't on. I would have used Y2. They must have used Y5, which is the same thing for the handles. So I've used the handles of Y5 on this one. You can't probably about to see, it looks a bit small. May not be able to see. But what they meant was Y2 on the original, which is on the handle I've just done now. So you've got to be very careful, make sure they're referencing the right Y. Why on earth they called them the same, I do not know. They should have used XX or Z or something like that, but they've used Y for both. And now the next point on their expansion kit instructions, they've asked to use Y3 on the, if you can see it, Y3 on the straps to go around the barrel. Now I've got to check to make sure Y3 is on the original and not the expansion kit. I'm sure it's on the original. But yeah, just bear in mind that when you're doing this, they're using Y for both references. Hi everyone. So unfortunately, due to some house renovation, I had to stop doing the video on how I built the T34 with the upgrade T34 85 model 1944 number 174 factory extra Photo-Etch from RFM, Ryefield models. So unfortunately I can only show you the end result, and to be honest I'm quite happy with that, because at the end of the day the Photo-Etch was way beyond my capacity, and I did struggle with it. But I will go through what I had problems with, but that's more of my skill than the actual model itself. So here's the end result. So the Photo-Etch part of this model, you have the straps for the spare tracks either side, which are very fiddly. The straps and the barrels themselves for the fuel. Now, to get them circular, I heated the Photo-Etch up, but it did it was quite a tricky, and I used kind of a gas hob to heat up the metal with tweezers holding it for keeping away from the heat. And then I wrapped it around the plastic barrels that are obviously supplied with the original kit. Now, obviously that's going to make them slightly bigger, so you had to bend them slightly more in afterwards to make it the right size. Now I still got this wrong, because the straps, as you can see maybe there, didn't quite touch the other side of the strap, so that's my fault. The tracks themselves, which were plastic, part of the model, somebody warned me on my previous video that the links are half short and you have to change the idler wheel, which I forgot to do. So I had to stretch my tracks out so they don't look kind of correct. You can probably see the link doesn't work there. But again, this is my modelling skills and maybe a bit of Ryfield. Hopefully measure it right next time. But the skirts was all Photo-Etch, so you can bend them and manipulate them as much as you like. And the mud guards at the front and back are all Photo-Etch as well. Again, you can bend them to whatever you like. I bent that one, put a few cuts in here and there. The hooks and the hand rails on the turret are all Photo-Etch. Apart from those hooks there, they're plastic. And also, what else? The Photo-Etch. So on the Photo-Etch version, you do get the saw handle or stowage part, which is there, but you don't get the actual saw, so you have to cut the plastic saw out, which I didn't. I left as empty. And maybe a more professional model will be able to put the saw in, but I didn't. I wanted this tank to be kind of like used, out in the field, lost some of its stuff. It hasn't got the tow cables or the cables. I took them out as lost. Another part of the Photo-Etch, which I think did come out really well, if you just see there, is the plates to the mantlets to the turret. Now, for that, it is Photo-Etch, and that bends in quite nicely and smooth. I weathered this with the normal kind of pin wash, which was a dark brown, and then I used some oils of white and yellow, and then thinned it out to get that kind of rust or worn rain kind of effect, doing downward strokes, as you can see. The tracks are the plastic version. There are hooks there, or stowage parts for the ropes and whatever else they want to put in there. That's all Photo-Etch. And for the exhausts, I used a kind of a pigment for the red to get that kind of rusty look, and then I used some chalk for black and dark brown chalk, and smudged on the kind of the effect of where the fumes were coming out of the exhaust to make it look darker, as you can just see there and there. For the mud, I use pigments. I use Vietnam Earth for the kind of a wet inside there. I don't know if you can maybe see that. And for the dry mud, I used a kind of another earth tone, which is basically European earth. And then I just mix that with water. And again, for some streak or weathering looks, I put some yellow and red streaks down, and then use some enamel to wipe it away, make it and dilute it down to drag it downwards to make it look like rain and weathered again. For the chipping, I used a lighter version of my base colour, which was the Vallejo red Russian green 4BO, and a bit of white mixed in, and then I use a sponge. Obviously, as per usual, you take off as much paint as you can and then just dab it on. And then for the black parts, I just use some black German black brown to put over the whites of the chipping as well. I'm quite happy with it for my kind of skill level. As you can see with the chipping on the right, on the side of the vehicles there. You can see more of the white and yellow drag coming across, coming down, make it weathered. Mud at the back for the on the tracks. Again, this is all Photo-Etch. I did have problems with the Photo-Etch grills there, so I ended up using the plastic, keeping the plastic in for that, because it's just beyond my skill level. I'm sure a more skilled modeler will be able to do that. The only thing that I also use from Tamiya, which is unusual for me, I don't usually use Tamiya, they have a smoke pot, and I use that for the oil spillage on the fuel drums, as you can see there. And that kind of gives it kind of an oily look, or spillage, what's left over from what they've actually used. All highlighted with a light olive, 71247 from Vallejo, and then I also added some ochre as well, which is 71081, for the extra highlights, kind of on the top of the parts there, and a bit of the side, top of the mud guards. Now, this model took me a while, but again, I did have a lot of background noise, which is why I can't do the full video of the full build, because I had house renovation going on and it was too noisy, which also made me lose concentration on several times. So I didn't want to put a video out with lots of background noise, and obviously kept on coming back to and fro from the model on days on end and forgetting where I were on certain things. All in all, a lovely build. I did have problems with the squaring of the hull fitting to the base of the tank. Now again, I don't know if that's my modelling skills or Royfield, but I'm going to put that down to my modelling skills. As I said, I wasn't concentrating on it 100% because I had other stuff going on in the home. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I used pencil and polish for the top of the teeth of the tracks to show that feeling of rubbing against the wheels. And I've just broken off one of the handles. Perfect. Now the handles come with a Photo-Etch. These are, you get a kind of a wire. This is 0.7, I think it was, for the handles, and you just bend them into shape and then stick them onto the model, which I'll have to glue this one back in. I've just finished it. The decals come straight from the plastic kit. All went on nicely. No problem there. Obviously, I've dirtied them up a bit when I've done my weathering. I need to do a diorama with this. I do have another T34, and I'll put it against that and put one major kind of diorama together. I don't know if I'll do a video on that, because it's going to be some time till I do that. I do like this model. I'm happy with it, considering all the issues I had personally, and not be able to concentrate on the model too much. But I did promise that I'd get some kind of video for you for this, and this is it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully my next video will be more concentrated on the actual build of the model and go through step by step. Thank you. Bye-bye.